Far and away one of the most interesting and disturbing cases that I have ever read. Alex Murdaugh out of South Carolina. His housekeeper dies, his wife dies, his son dies, his son kills somebody in a BUI accident, fraud, embezzlement, hires somebody to gun himself down. His son is gonna receive $10 million and then he can't. Stealing money from clients, the most disturbing facts you will ever see. Stay tuned to the end of the video. I'm gonna tell you how his son would have received the $10 million had none of this came out.
Involving a prominent South Carolina family. Attorney Alex Murdaugh is charged with trying to have himself killed in order to get $10 million in insurance money for his son. Now, 3 months earlier, his wife and another son were shot to death. That case is still unsolved at this time, but it tells...
Now, this is an old video. We know that Murdaugh has been charged with the death of his wife and his son, but the interesting part about this case is I'm a life insurance lawyer, so I know how these policies pay out. What they're saying is that Murdaugh hired somebody to kill him so that his son would receive $10 million. Murdaugh, did you even read the policy? Did you see what the terms are? You didn't need to do any of that.
WHNS-TV that Murdaugh is a person of interest while insisting he did not kill them. Murdaugh told investigators, we have to follow along here, that he hired a man named Curtis Smith to shoot him in the head last month. Murdaugh claims he's been addicted to opioids for 20 years, and Smith is his drug dealer. Now, Smith tells his side of the story for the first time this morning to Nikki Batiste. It's a 48 Hours interview.
Nope, I didn't know that.
You've been called the hillbilly hitman.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel?
I laugh at it. I really do.
Curtis Smith says it was September 4th when his friend, South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh, called claiming he needed help. Smith says Murdaugh was like a brother to him, so he didn't think twice before heading to meet him. When Smith arrived on a stretch of road, he says Murdaugh emerged from his car holding a gun.
He's standing there with, like this. He said, yeah, you got to take care of this. I said, well, I can't do it. And he turned his head. I just grabbed his arm, put it behind his head, took the gun from him.
Smith claims during that struggle, the gun went off. Then he disposed of the weapon.
Yeah, he wanted me to kill him.
To make it look like a suicide.
Yeah.
All right, time out. I don't want anybody committing the word on here, so I'm not in favor of self-infliction, so that's not what this is about. But I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. There are two main ways that the S word would exclude somebody's relatives, widow, kids, beneficiaries from receiving life insurance proceeds. What is it? Accidental death and dismemberment. Why? Because the word is not an accident, it is intentional. And if you take out a policy within 2 years, then you may have waived it. Let's assume Murdaugh had a $10 million life insurance policy for greater than 2 years. It sounds like he did. Well, guess what? The S word would not have prohibited his son from receiving the $10 million. Instead, what happens? Well, Murdaugh now just tack it on the tab, baby. We're going for gold. And oh, by the way, yeah, raise the tower here. Almost lost my skull cap from my good old friend here.
Ain't happening.
Of course, Curtis is like anybody else. Are you insane? What are you doing?
Johnny McCoy is Smith's lawyer.
Made sure he couldn't kill himself. And no crime. No crime.
If I hadn't took the gun, I don't know what he would have done. That simple.
After the struggle, Smith says he ran off and went home.
How were you feeling as this was happening, as you're driving away?
Mad, scared, all at one time.
No crime was committed.
Yeah.
Right. Some people would think, well, he tried to kill himself.
Is that a crime?
No, I guess, or he called 911. Some people think call 911 because it's...
But the gun got taken out of his hand. Why on earth would you call the police, let alone on Alex Murdaugh, when nothing... What are you going to say? Hey, this guy was suicidal.
But Murdaugh's original version of the events was much different from Smith's. He initially told investigators he was changing a flat tire when a driver passed by and shot him in the head. He was taken to a nearby hospital for a superficial gunshot wound. Murdaugh now says he asked Curtis Smith to meet him on the side of the road and help him take his own life, hoping his life insurance would be paid out to his only surviving son. Murdaugh's attorney at the time of his arrest said his client was addicted to opioids and that it had taken a toll on his mental health, a fact
just like they say in Rambo.
Murdaugh, I'm coming to get you.
going to trial. This month, January 2023, I believe is his first trial. We're going to tune in. Subscribe below. We're going to have all the coverage for you. What do you think is the most fascinating thing that Murdaugh has been charged with? Like and comment below. Let me know what you're thinking.